think our generation, we do have this anxiety just because we do things for the gram, we do things for the internet, we do things to try and get viral and get famous. And there's this point of reality that is kind of lost.
Also, I can say that a lot of our generation and the younger generation, they want things instantly, and they almost don't know that it takes time. It takes a certain amount of hours to actually master something, but you can't be mad at them. They have no idea that, like, you can't have things instantly, but with social media in front of them, they just want fame now. They don't really realize what longevity is. But you can't blame them because they have things that if you post something on the internet, you can potentially be famous tomorrow, but you don't know how long it's gonna last.
Coco and Breezy are twin eyewear designers breaking barriers as some of the only black women in the optical industry. Their early designs were an instant hit in the entertainment and fashion world. When they're not designing, they're directing videos for the likes of Disney and Lego, or DJing for brands like Pepsi, Samsung, Citicorp, and Maybelline. Coco and Breezy are more than influencers. They are setting new standards in the industry while excelling in more than one realm of creativity. They are disruptors.
Okay, and we are back. Let me grab out a pair of glasses.
Am I talking too quiet?
No, you're fine.
Okay, so a little bit about our background is that we were actually born in Indiana, and that's where I would say 90% of our family is. Then we left when we were about 2 years old and moved to Memphis, Tennessee, because our mom and dad just didn't want us to be exposed. They didn't want us to grow up there. And we also had an older brother who actually grew up there, who has a different mom, but same dad as us. But he stayed in Indiana, and we moved to Memphis. When we were 7, we moved to Minnesota. Mm-hmm. So that's why we always say we're from Minnesota, because that's just where we spent all our childhood, from 7 until 19. I think we were all mixed into the suburban life. And it was actually kind of crazy for us. It wasn't up until high school until we really started noticing that we were different.
And you know what? Also, the school system is very messed up because as an adult, you don't realize the things. As a child, you don't realize that they're teaching you all this negative racism. But now, as an adult, I remember our school in middle school. They taught us that the white man is more powerful. Like I'll never forget this. But when you're a kid, they're brainwashing you. They're telling you this. But I remember being in class and they talked about
white supremacy.
They talked about they made us read the book Huckleberry Finn. I remember the kids, they loved saying the N-word. They pronounced every syllable. And whenever we would watch movies about slavery, they would be laughing.
We grew up in the suburbs from 2nd grade until about 7th, and our parents got a divorce. And so we went from being the only black girls in school to, once our parents got a divorce, our mom moved to Richfield, which was a little bit more inner city. I think we ended up living with my mom, who was closer to everything. And that school, Richfield, was more inner city. So we went from going from only knowing super suburbs, only knowing almost and that's the thing. It's we only knew the things that we were around from the white schools. And so once we got to the inner city, maybe we talked, we weren't into gangs, all we wanted to do was dance, laugh, have fun, but we were going to middle school where people were actually gangbanging. Mm-hmm. These little girls were gangbanging in 7th grade, and for us, we just wanted to be artists, we wanted to make up dance routines, we wanted to perform at talent shows, we didn't care about all the cliquey stuff. And so when we got into the school, everybody's like, oh, just because they came from the suburbs, they think that they're all that, or, they talk proper, they talk like white girls, so that you can't tell them nothing. I remember one time, people wanted to hang out with us, and we told them, no, we want to go home and make up a dance. We don't want to just hang out, Oh, y'all think y'all better than everybody.
And then we came home, and they wanted to
jump us. My mom had to go up to the school, and it was such an issue. People would write us on, because that's when we had Black Planet. And I remember people used to be like, oh, when you guys get to the high school, we're gonna F you guys up. Yeah. We weren't even into drama. I think it was because
we stuck to ourselves, and we were okay with just hanging out with each other. We cried to our dad. We said, Dad, can we please live with you? because the kids where we live now are like, they hate us, they want to jump us. He said, no problem, we only have 1 bedroom, but you guys can,
You don't mind
if you don't mind sleeping on an air mattress, go for it. So we slept on an air mattress from 9th grade and 10th grade.
Yep.
And we didn't even have a proper room. Like, we had our clothes in a suitcase. And I remember whenever our friends would come over, they would assume that we lived in like luxury because all the kids that went to Chaska and Chanhassen,
it's like wealthy kids.
It was very middle class or rich, pretty much. And by the way we dress, people assume like, oh, they must come from money, and they would make fun of us, thinking we came from money or from a silver spoon. But in reality,
We just knew how to shop.
yeah, we knew how to shop, and we
We knew how to style ourselves.
exactly. But we definitely didn't come from a lot of money. We actually got our first jobs at 15, because during that same year, our dad got sick, and he had about like
3 or 4
3 or 4 strokes, and which left his like left side paralyzed at the time. And we were there to help him. And so they told him that he had a pretty good job, like middle class job, and they told him that he could never work again. Our dad's been in and out the hospital since then, and he's just so sorry. He's just so strong. But now he's just our inspiration. Like, he's never complained about anything. And so he makes us want to work harder. And we help we help our parents out. So we do whatever we can, and we just hustle. We're doing this for them. He's a double amputee. Not once have I ever heard him complain about not being able to do anything.
I knew my parents were going through it. I did not want them to break up. But the beautiful part about when they did get a divorce, if we'd go to our mom's house, or if I'd go to my dad's house, they still kept the same rules.
My mom and dad did not play that. They always had the same rules. They raised us the same. They really did it for the kids. Like, they really, even though they had their differences within their romance and they couldn't be together, but they did a great job with not letting it affect raising who Coco and I are today.
And I think that when you have a twin, it's a little hard to find yourself. It is. It's a challenge at times. We're almost like a yin and yang.
And that's one thing I do appreciate, is that they always told us that you should be able to count your friends on one hand. And if you don't have friends that you can count on one hand, you can even just have each other. Like, that's totally okay.
Breezy, she's also really tough. So that's the funny part, is that she's sensitive and I have a shell, but she's also tough and straight to the point. And sometimes I beat around the bush.
If I'm eating a bag of chips or like a snack, I automatically do you want some, anybody? Because I'm so used to doing that for my sister. And I really was like, okay, I need to figure out who I am. Who am I without Coco? And maybe a couple of years ago I couldn't answer that question. But I think today I can answer that question. And I think that I am fierce, I am super strong, I'm extremely outspoken. Like, I really don't have a filter. I am so comfortable with who I am, and I love asking questions as well.
I didn't know where to start in life. And so now we've been really, first of all, we're aware now. We're aware that it's an issue. We're aware of to stop talking over each other. Like, we used to talk over each other, which is so rude when other people are trying to understand what we're saying and they don't know. Yeah, one day I'm gonna get married and she's gonna get married and she may live in a different state than I do. But we know we're working our way through it. But the first step is that we're aware that we need to work on it. And we're always constantly trying to figure out how can we live individual lives. Since we were in middle school, I always knew Breezy liked women, or I always knew that she was a tomboy. But I would fight it, because I didn't want her to be different from me. And I knew that she didn't want to be different from me either. First, to even start, when she wanted to tell our parents that she had a girlfriend, the first thing I said was, Breezy, if anyone judges you in our family, it's you and me.
I'm not hurting anybody. I'm not selling drugs. I'm not in and out of jail. I'm in New York living my dreams, but I like women. I'm not doing anything to hurt anybody. And after a year, my dad called me one day. He's like, you know what? I'm happy that you're happy. And my mom, she accepts me as well. But I think that one thing I don't like with society is that I don't understand why people care so much about who someone else loves. I think love is freedom. We have a lot to do with just like fighting for our rights. And there's so many rights that we have to fight for, with being queer, with being a woman of color, with being a woman. Like, there's so many different elements that we're still fighting for today. But I think that the number one thing that we have to do is to stick together. And there's so many things within society, even in movies and things that we see in the world, that they say a woman shouldn't be like that. But in life, it's like you should really be who you are. I think that, again, like being a woman of color, and a woman of color that's gay, like there's a lot that plays into that. But I can say the starting point of being a woman, I feel like society, they automatically almost make you insecure, especially men.
It's so funny because whenever I meet successful business people, the first thing that I ask them is, how do you manage your relationship? And if they have kids, I'm like, how do you balance having kids and your business? Like, those are always the questions I ask the people, because I know that eventually I want to get married, have kids, but I'm like, the point I'm at in my life right now, I'm just working so much. I'm like, how will I balance when I have kids? But then I think that you figure it out.
I think Coco and Breezy overall are just good listeners. So they would, even though I was there, I know that I wasn't the only person that they would listen to. They would listen to me, and they would also listen to other people that they trusted. I think they're growing into separate individuals in a beautiful way. So, you know, it's not, neither of them is growing off in a weird way. They're both blossoming separately in great ways. And, you know, it took some time for that, because I remember when I first met them and they were shipping out glasses, they used to go to the post office together to ship out one package. They used to, matter of fact, they used to have one phone, and they used to share the phone. So like when Coco's talking, she'll get off the phone. They would text friends together on that one phone. They sharing text messages. Coco texts her boyfriend or whoever she might have been dealing with at the time. And then when we started working together, I was like, man, we gotta split this up. Like,
I would say our process, when we really figured out that we need to change our habits, we had this point in our lives where, again, when we started our brand, we were really young and we didn't understand, we had no idea what the main goal was. And so we had a point in our lives about 4 years ago where I would say things weren't going as planned, and financially we were at like our lowest point that we've ever been in New York. We never even had the process like, oh my gosh, how are we gonna pay rent? It was this 1 month, we lost this really, really big order, and that really, but what it was is that like, that was our first really big production of our eyewear, and we had a huge distribution order, and literally we paid for all the product, and then with our own money, and then the store was like, they canceled it. They're like, we received the product and it's damaged, we have to cancel it.
This right here is our storage room. Breezy's so extra. It looks amazing. Holes cut out, we're gonna put glass in here. And then we wanted to add a pop of color, so we add Breezy and I painted. This is gonna be the showroom. So right now it's construction site, but we're gonna be building Eyewear displays with that material right there. And this whole wall will be a whole showcase for our glasses.
We really get our inspiration looking at people on the street, looking at people on the train. When I travel, I'm staring at people. So it's funny because I'm always, if you're looking at someone's glasses, you're looking at them in their eyes.
Yeah. Also, we get a lot of inspiration even from just like architecture, buildings, like she said, travel, different environments.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, anything that we experience in life, we get inspiration. We don't really get too much we don't pull a lot of inspiration from fashion.
So once we have the actual product, of course, before the product even comes, we start working on our marketing initiative and our marketing rollout. So we love to do pre-marketing ahead of time, just to let people know what we have coming out. And then once the product gets here and lands, of course we do a big marketing push to our website and to the store accounts that we're in. And from there, with our store accounts that we're in, we're constantly always getting orders online and getting orders from the stores. But I would never forget when we first got our physical sample, we went to sleep with them next to us in bed because we were so excited.
What's up?
What up, Coco and Breezy?
We've been waiting for this forever.
For real?
Yes.
Look, y'all
They were studying customs for like 2 weeks. Then they put it in the FDA. They wouldn't approve it because
Oh,
glasses.
that's why I have to go through
There's
customs.
sunglasses, yeah.
Alright.
But there should be 2 boxes though.
No, I only got one.
So maybe the second one, maybe tomorrow or
Maybe
later.
tomorrow.
Okay, we're hyped.
Alright.
We're so hyped.
See.
Thank you.
Okay.
Now it's like we've been waiting so long for these. Now it's like we have to. I don't know. It's crazy. Now we actually have them. It feels unreal. So it's like we have them. Now what?
Now the real
Yeah.
work begins.
Exactly. I'm so hyped right now. I'm gonna cry. Okay. All right. So let's do it the old-fashioned piece. So this is the hard part. You want to make sure that the factory like made everything the way you wanted it. That's why it's nerve-wracking to like open the box. What? They fit. Are they too big? No, they fit.
We are, and I think I can say this confidently, that we are the only young black women that have a known eyewear company. Because there could be some that are in the optical industry. I would say it was a little challenge when we first got in.
It really was.
We would walk into Vision Expo, which is
Not
where
only being women of color, but being edgy women of color. We're not coming in there in like business suits. Or
you know, this is my business attire. I'm wearing a button-up and slacks. And like, people are still gonna look at me like I'm wild. We would walk into optical shops and we would tell the store owners that we were founders of an eyewear company. You know, they always look at us like,
They didn't take it seriously.
they did not take us seriously. Before seeing our product, they didn't even give us a chance to see our product. When we walk into Vision Expo, and they would automatically think that we were models. Like, oh, what brand are you guys modeling for? I'd be like, well, no, I'm Coco. Nice to meet you. I'm co-founder of Coco and Breezy, the eyewear company. I think that some of these people, some of these young kids, they don't know their worth. They don't know these big corporations have money. And then they're taking advantage of these kids that are on Instagram posting photos. And they're like, oh, can you do my campaign? The kids are not getting paid much because they don't know how much they can really get. And so it's important that you have to know your worth. And it's important that big companies actually support, and they obviously understand the value of millennials, but now it's time for them to pay that value. When we shoot our campaigns, we love to use all mixed races of people. But as of recently, we've been using a lot of black models just because we feel that
shine anywhere else, so I feel like we should give them shine.
yeah, so when you go into optical shops, I've been talking to eye care professionals and they're like, you know, these brands, they're sending us campaigns of only white models. Totally fine, but when the store is located, no, it's not fine, but hold on, I'm getting there. But when the store is located in an urban community, so now you have
diverse campaigns in your store. So when people walk into your store, they feel like they can relate to it.
Right. So that's where my issue is. I think that, you know, these brands are starting to like step it up a bit more.
But that's
been,
even though you're not saying the good part.
Yeah.
Even though it's been a challenge, we feel really good about creating our own path. And I think we're coming in to
think.
Actually, yeah, we know that we're coming in to disrupt the optical industry.